Cisco 8845 and 8865 product review. So this is going to be a little bit of a follow-on to one of the last videos I did around the 8861 and the 8800 series phones. Shortly after I did that video, we just released these two newer phones here, the 45, which I have in gray here, and the 65, which I have in white over here. Now, you can get either one of these in the gray or the white. You don't have to say, I want the white, so I have to get the 65. You can get the white in the 45. And this goes for all of our 800 series phones, the 8800s. You can get them in pretty much either color. So I'm not going to go into all the detail that I went into with the 8861s, going through all the menus and everything. But I want to take you through what the big differences are between these two phones and what you get by moving up to these two models here. In my opinion, these are probably the best two phones that Cisco has ever released, especially if you start talking about the 8845. I think the price point of this and the features that you get in here, you really can't beat it. And when you take a look at the price that this comes in at versus the 8841, which would be a little bit of a step down, you don't get the camera, and you don't get some of the other features in it, it's sort of a no-brainer, especially if you think you're going to have this phone on your desk for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. This is pretty much my go-to phone these days. So let's get into taking these things apart a little bit. We'll start with the 8865, which I have over here in the white, and we'll flip it around so you guys can see it. The new phones here, they did a little bit of a design change to the mount here, the stand for the phone. It actually tilts up and down now, which is kind of nice, so you can just adjust it for the height that you want on your desk there. On the back side here, same ports and everything that I did in my last video here with the 8861. So I have my headset port here. I've got the switch port right there, so I can plug my PC into the back of this. Again, that is gig. I've got my microphone and I've got my speaker input here. These are just your little your mini connectors, 3.5 millimeter. Really useful if you're going into some sort of sound system, maybe in a conference room or something like that, and you just kind of need to use this phone as for the keypad. You're going to kind of harvest the mics and the sound that you have in the room, and you just need something to tie it back to. You do have that option in here as well. Of course, these are PoE. If you're in a situation where you don't have PoE, obviously we still allow for the plug here. You can plug it into the wall if you needed to, and then run a non-PoE cable to it. And just like the 8861 as well, we've got the USB port right there on the back. So you can plug your iPad into this if you wanted to, your iPhone into this if you wanted to, and you can actually charge your device directly off of the back of this phone, and it actually comes in over the PoE switch. So you're pulling power from your switch when you start plugging into these USB ports. So just make sure that you got a decent switch that can go maybe a little bit over the 802.3 AF power, just in case it needs additional power here. So we'll flip over to the side of this phone here, and you can see that I've got the same thing I had on the 8865. These plugs actually come off, and I can add the chem module, the key expansion module, directly onto this here. So let's flip this guy back around. We'll talk a little bit about the front of these phones here. So big thing here that Cisco added on the 8845 and 65 is the camera. So this is a 720p high definition camera, and it's very tiny, and it does actually articulate just a little bit to position for your face wherever you have this on your desk. It's got a shutter on it, so it kind of gives you that peace of mind, tell you, hey, it's shut right now, I can twist it, and I open it back up. This does do H.264 video back and forth. You can video conference with a room-based system if you wanted to, a Cisco MX. You could even call another video conferencing system like a Polycom or a Lifesize or something like that. The 8865 has a Wi-Fi chipset built into it, so it's got an 802.11 AC, 2.4 gigahertz, and 5 gigahertz chipset built into it. So if you do need a phone that is maybe in an area where you don't have a Cat5 cable run, you could always plug it in, and you can run the Wi-Fi off of this guy here. One of the other cool features, and I don't even think I showed this in my other video with the 8861, But the bezels here, you can actually replace. They're magnetic. They're on there pretty good. You just kind of get your fingernail behind it. You might have to give it a little pressure to pop it off. But you can actually replace these bezels. And we have a silver one and a black one that you can put on here if you wanted to. I'm sure there's going to be third-party manufacturers coming out. Maybe you want to take this and put your own logos on it or something like that. They are removable. They are customizable. And then they just kind of snap back on like that. So the other thing, note the difference between the previous generation 8800s and these is that the screen actually is tilted in a little bit. If you take a look at the 88, 41, 51, 61 phone, it's kind of a flat and it kind of goes down a little bit. These, let me turn it to the side so you can kind of see here, this one actually has a bend to it. And again, that helps when you're on video calls, so you're seeing the person at a good angle, and plus the camera, it helps with the camera mounted that way as well. So I'll turn this back around here. If we go over to the 8845 phone here now, it's a lot of the same features like I was saying before. It has the camera, it has Bluetooth built into it, and I'll show you guys the Bluetooth in a second here. Same thing with the shutter on the top here. The big difference with the 8845 is it does not have on the back here those extra ports. So we still have the switch port and everything obviously on there. So I can hook my PC into it if I needed to. I've got my headset jack on the back here, got my power, but I don't have those audio connectors, those 3.5mm audio jacks for the microphone and the speaker output or anything like that. I also do not have USB. The reason I think this is overall probably the best phone Cisco has is, some of those features are nice to have, the USB ports and everything on the back, but really unless I'm putting a key expansion module on this guy or I have it in a space where I really need to do Wi-Fi, this phone really has everything I could possibly think of that a knowledge worker would really need to use to work with here. So, same thing here too with the bezel, pops off if you wanted to put your own bezel on there or customize something. And we'll put this guy back on here. And to show you the Bluetooth on here like I showed in one of my previous videos, I'm just going to push this a little bit closer so we can get a better picture of the screen here. So I've got the dual lines on here again. I can switch back and forth here between my the regular desk line, or maybe I want to go to my iPhone. I just push that in and it switches back and forth. You can see the number at the top there also changes. And the cool part is here too is I can go into my recent calls, and if I am on my desk line here, it'll show me the recent calls for my desk line. And if I go over to the iPhone, oops, go over to the iPhone and push that recent button again, you can see here it actually pulls in all my recent calls from the iPhone. And I'll show you guys again here how this works a little bit. So right now I have it set to my iPhone, and we can go ahead and we can call a number. So we'll just dial 1-800-FLOWERS maybe, 1-800, there we go, and hit the call button. And now you can see the call is being placed. 1-800-FLOWERS.com. But on my cell phone here, you can actually see that this is the thing that's actually placing the call out. And we're just going to end this call here. The toggle buttons and everything is pretty much the same. It's got the silver button there in the middle, up, down, left, and right there. And really they haven't changed too much inside the menu. It's really identical to the other 8800 series phones. So the good news is if you're used to the 88, 41, 51, 61 phone and you want to do video, it's a couple extra bucks and there's no learning curve or anything that you have to do. This is almost identical to the previous models that we had. So I just want to thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions, please post in the video. If you have any other ideas on other videos you want me to do, post that as well, and we'll try to do them for you guys. All right, thanks a lot.